Hi again, it's Mike at Balsamiq. In the last episode, I did a few concepts for cloud project actions, and these were very high-level wireframes that were sort of like thumbnail sketches. So we decided to explore concept 2. So let's do that now. Let's get started. All right, so here's concept 2 from the wireframes I did in the last session. And I'm going to just flesh this one out a little more and make a new wireframe here. Just for reference, let's look at what we have to create here. So we have a toolbar, and then we have a grid of projects. And each project has a little checkbox in the lower left corner. When you click a checkbox, actions currently appear up here. We're going to change that. So I'm just going to sort of rough out the toolbar. We got a breadcrumb, we have menu, title, and we have icons for actions, list, grid, add, and upload. So let's just do that super fast. Screen. Gonna draw another box for the toolbar. So I just use R while clicking and dragging to make those. And then we need an icon for, let's just do a smiley for the, that's the breadcrumb icon. And oops, let's see. Command semicolon opens up the inspector if you have it hidden. It's gonna make it smaller. And then what are we gonna do here? It's gonna be really super small. And then we have this text, so it's name of the project. And it's just, oops. Balsamiq, then we have a menu. Let's make this smaller. We got a menu up top that is, I'm gonna use text actually, so let's duplicate this guy. Option dragging, then we're just gonna get project, edit, view, help. Okay, and let's see, center this bad boy, and then avatar in the upper right corner. So we're just gonna use a user, put a border on it, make it extra small. Small, actually, extra small is the right size without the border. Just do it like that. Title, so it's projects. So let's see. Projects, right? So I can just press enter here, and it turns into text. Projects. I'm gonna make it bigger. Command right bracket. Center it, and then there's a shortcut for centering. I don't remember what it is. Icons. We have list, icon. It's like a 3-bar one. We have list, grid, right? Grid is a thumbnail. What else do we have? Plus and upload. Plus. Upload. So let's do up an arrow. Close enough. All right, and then we're gonna put these guys, we're gonna make them small. There's a separator, but I don't think I need to put the separator in. All right, so that's those guys. I'm gonna space them, so we're gonna do distribute centers horizontally. Okay. Good, I think that's all I need for now. I'm gonna make this a symbol, because why not? It's toolbar, convert to symbol. All right, so then we need to make each of the projects. So what do they look like? There's a title, users, share button, share icon, checkbox, and then a bunch of actions for each one. So, and the actions are, as you can say it out loud so I remember, duplicate, download, delete. So let's come back to here. I'm gonna hold R again to get a rectangle, and I'm going to just, let's see, put title, boy, can't remember, users, this is left aligned, not center aligned, and then a user there. Now I'll use a border, make it smaller. Okay, and then a share icon, or not a share icon, that's project members icon. So that's like people or something, right? And that, I'm gonna leave the border out of that one. So to make this real, this will be your project name. Make it bigger, bold, and oops, align those to middle, something like that, and then checkboxes. So we have checkbox, in the bottom corner, and we have actions for download, duplicate, download, right? Download, there you go. And then X, delete. What is that called? Close? If I can spell, boy, close, times. We'll use that. All right, so we got these three guys. We're gonna make them smaller. Like that. Okay. And distribute centers horizontally. Group them. Put them here. Okay, so this is what one of the grid items looks like. I'm gonna create a symbol of that. So this is gonna be project. All right, so now I could just drop in project. He's a little big, so let's just stretch this guy out to make space for it. Project. I can just duplicate the symbol this way. Here you go. Good enough. Okay. Just make this a little smaller. All right, so let's say we have a bunch of projects here. I'm gonna override properties in this guy and call this just picking random names. Stupid, goofy names. And then one more. Let's see. So we have, this is the first state when you haven't checked anything. And I'm just going to do this all in one screen. I'm going to do it horizontally for now. So the idea now is if you check one of these guys, so let's say you have, it's like a pointer. You have the users selected one of these. Let's say selected Beanstagram, right? Then we're just going to make this guy checked. We're going to change the state to selected. So what would happen then is the toolbar, if we go back to our sketch, the toolbar would change state to, be a different color or something, and then, you would see the project actions here. So let's go back to our wire concept 2 here. So what I want to do is just change this this whole thing to be hidden. So I'm just gonna draw. I can just draw a rectangle on top of this for this state. So I'm gonna draw another rectangle here and just make it. We have this selected state color from our style guide, which is just it's blue. So I'm gonna make it some kind of blue. And then what'll happen is we'll show some feedback. So we might have some feedback like, we've been looking at the pivotal does a similar thing where they show you the number of things selected. So let's say we have one project selected to give you some feedback. And then on the other side, we have some actions. So I'm going to reverse this text over this blue background. So, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Maybe this is some kind of, it's going to make it stand out a little bit. So, let's see, bring this to the front. And then make this box another color. I don't know what it's going to be. Oops, that's the border. Say it's that or something. Let's say it's like that. Okay, one project selected. I want to make this first one black actually. So let's change this guy to just be a 1 here and then black. Or just, a darker color. Alright, so then that's your feedback about what you've selected. We could also have another action to cancel. We need some kind of way to cancel out of this state. So originally I had this, just simple cancel up here without the feedback, but I kind of like the way the pivotal does it with the, if you select more than one, it'll show you that so that you could, have you might miss that you've selected like a third project and you think you're only selected 2. And so if you have, maybe you accidentally selected one while you're zipping through your project list or something. I don't know, something like that. So maybe this feedback would be a nice thing to have up there. So then I really kind of like the way they just have this deselect all pivotal. So I might steal that, or we might just say cancel. I'm not sure what we're gonna do. But I'm just gonna put a separator here, and I'm gonna make cancel be. This is an interesting question because feedback first, cancel to the left. That's something I need to think about. Because usually, on most of our stuff, we follow just sort of this convention of having dialogue with action on the right to submit the action, and then cancel on the left. But now I have this feedback here, so should I put this, where should I put this? Should I put that feedback in the middle, perhaps? Yeah, maybe I'll put it in the middle. And then then this, so this is my cancel button, right? This would be deselect all, which is basically cancel. Do I like deselect all or do I like cancel? Cancel is what we use everywhere else. Deselect all is basically your cancel here. Let's just I'm just gonna, explore this language here, and then, we can change the wording later. So let's stick with this for now. I'm gonna do the feedback here. This is gonna be a link. So I'm just gonna select a different, a different color that looks more pronounced. So if it's a button, it would be more clear, but. Should I just do, it looks kind of, that looks kind of disabled. So I got this underline there. That looks all right. So I mean, most of the time we have, like in our dialogues, we have cancel in a just like our user settings. We have everything in a button. So maybe we should stick with that convention. We're gonna stick with that here. So I'm gonna do a button here, and this is gonna say deselect all. It's not what I had here, is it? I'd cancel as text here. All right, so I think I'm going to stick with this because this is what we do elsewhere. And even if you look here, we have buttons for, you know, the dialogues here. These are buttons, these two like primary actions here. So I'm going to just leave it as a button for now. And then on the right side, we're going to have these actions to delete the projects or to download the projects. So here's the two actions, and I think I want to have a label here, not just an icon. Basically now you just have these two icons, and you know, it's nice to have, you know, just this simple icons, but you know, they can be kind of mystery meat, and like, you know, X is a destructive action, it's a delete, so I really kind of want that to be more obvious what you're doing. So I'm gonna go against my desire to keep everything clean and make it more obvious, because this is, you know, this is kind of this is a big action you're taking here if you're going to do delete. So I'm going to do a button. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do a button here. So a button with an icon. So the icon's going to be download first. Let's do that one. And then delete. With an X. No, it's this guy times. Oops, I did it twice. Should just be for the right one. All right, so I'm going to do it like this. And then next state would be, if you select delete, then we have a dialog that appears. I'm going to make a single symbol out of this thing called app. That way I can just put an instance of app here, right? And duplicate it. So what I need to do is basically, I'm going to make this a symbol too. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to make this a symbol called toolbar actions. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So the next thing would be, once you have your project selected, you would select download, in which case you'd get a modal to, do you get a modal, or do you actually just, it just starts downloading, I think. Yeah, it just starts downloading. That's cool. We don't need to really do anything there. But delete wants a some kind of confirmation, So what I'm going to do for this is just have demonstrate what this does. So let's see. Let's just get this toolbar action symbol. These all appear in our symbols, by the way. So toolbar actions is here. So I'm gonna, let's say that I selected that. All right, let's put some arrows in here now because, you know, I feel like, oops, you know, I've been doing a lot of wireframing here and maybe it's hard to follow what I'm doing. So I'm gonna put in a line because I feel like it's, you know, whenever we wireframe, it always helps to have just some sort of indication of flow, what's, you know, and then I'll add some notes later, but here what's happening is I'm going to do this in red because I want it to stand out. I'm going to just sort of indicate what happens here. So state one, or, you know, in this first step of the story, I'm selecting the checkbox. This toolbar appears. The next part of the story is going to be, you know, I select delete, right? Let's talk about what happens there. And so if you select delete, what I'm gonna end up doing is showing a modal here. So let's pretend there's a modal here. Let's duplicate this. Put this back here. All right, so I'm gonna grab the modal screen here and put this over the app. Just put it over the whole thing, right? And then let's bring this back to the front. And then I'm gonna have a little window that says, are you sure you want to delete one project or something? You know, it's some kind of message here that lets you know that you know, you are taking a destructive action here. You're going to delete something. So I don't think we need this title bar. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to make that. Do we have title bars? We do. So let's see. All right, I'm going to leave a title bar here. So it's going to say confirm. What should it say? Confirm project deletion. Let's leave it like that for now. So I'm gonna put that there, and then I copied that text I had in the toolbar. Let's put it here, and then make it 16 point, and then we'll have button to confirm or cancel. Yes, delete. Yes, delete. Delete. Yes, delete. What did I say before? Just delete and cancel. Okay, so yes, delete project. And make that guy red maybe because it's a stop sign. And then we'll have, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So then I'm gonna duplicate this, and then it's gonna be cancel over here. Cancel, and it's gonna be the normal button color. Okay, so if you have clicked the delete button there, I'm just gonna copy this cursor. Okay, so if I clicked the delete button here, then this dialog would appear. And then, you know, if you confirm the deletion, then, you know, whoops. Let's see, select the symbol. Oh, gosh. What am I doing here? Select the group, select the symbol, duplicate it. All right. And then, let's see, select that group, duplicate that. So then what happens here is Beanstagram will be removed, right? So everything will shift up. Okay, so all right, so this is like the storyboard for this one flow here. You know, do you need to demonstrate all this? I don't know. But I'm going to here. So what I'm doing now is just gonna kind of caption these cells in the story. So if it's a storyboard, so I'm gonna just put a bunch of text here. So let's say first user selects project to perform an action on. Let's just say user selects project. Let's make this. Okay, so I'm gonna just put one of these over each cell. I used to do this really neatly and clean. Now I just kind of just do this really quick. So the toolbar actions appear. And what I tend to want to do is just kind of annotate the what kind of behaviors I expect here for transitions. So I might do that too, but I'm going to just kind of do the captions first. 3. So what happens next? Selecting delete displays delete projects dialog, right? And then lastly, I don't think we need much feedback here because the whole grid's gonna kind of is going to just shift, but it would be nice to have some kind of transition where this visually displays this grid item kind of disappearing, and then some smooth transition shifts the grid items up. So I'll make a note about that. I don't need to prototype it, I just need to make a note. So let's say project removed from grid, and then so I'll just have a transition note. Okay, so I also want to show what happens if you download. So just download, just going to, just make a note here. Just starts the download. There's no feedback in the app because it all happens in the browser. So I'm just gonna show a note here that says project download. So project download begins. Let's say something like that. And then I want to have some notes about the behaviors. So I'm just going to put a call out in here, and we're using Cloud here, so I just want to make the most of just the notes. I just use the notes here in a comment, and then we can discuss these behaviors rather than me putting it in the wireframe. So I'm going to add a call out for the transition that happens here. Let's say for toolbar, toolbar appears with slide in transition, and we tend to do 0.04 seconds. Slide in from top, or it could just be appear. I think it's okay just to appear. Yeah, I don't think we need a slide in transition. Any appearing just right away without much of a smooth transition is fine. I mean, without a transition is fine. Let's just have it appear. And then this is the one that I'm really kind of concerned about, is just sort of making sure that this is smooth. So it's going to put a note here about the removal of a project. When the project is removed from the grid, animate the hide the removal, hiding of the item, and smooth and display a smooth animation of the repositioned grid items. And I'll probably just talk to whoever does this, whoever does the development on this, because it's just simple enough for us to just talk about this and reference the animation that I could actually just show or talk through what the animation should look like. So I think that's it. That's all I need to do. Is such a simple little project, so there's not much to wireframe here. It's just sort of getting the states clear, and getting all the wording clear, and showing where feedback should appear for this. And then I'll probably work on the visual design for this as well. If we're going to use common controls here, but this modal toolbar that is not something that we're doing right now anywhere else in the app. So this will be a good start, and then we'll probably refine it when it's in the real thing. And yeah, I think that's good enough for now. So thanks for sticking with it, watching this video, and we'll see where it goes. And if you're using Cloud, maybe you'll see this, and it'll make the feedback a little better for multiple actions on multiple projects. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.